Hey guys, what's up? And damn, you have any idea how fucking cold it is right now where I'm at? It's criminal. It doesn't make any sense to be, and I shouldn't even be talking because I'm near Chicago. We get really insane fucking winters up here. I'm dreading the winter months. I really am. But enough of that. I'm making this video to kind of. This is not really a response per se. It's more of, I guess, a mix of a response slash me throwing my 2 cents somewhat into this whole thing that I kind of started. I did start. With my video about what do you think, which I've been getting some really interesting comments and video replies, by the way. Keep them coming, especially to the people who I personally asked. I've already got, some people have already told me that there are some more coming. They just, need to find the time, and other people I haven't heard from, so hopefully you're not too busy. But then again, if you are, if it's not interesting you, I understand, but whatever. I got some really cool stuff from, I believe his name is Mojosideburns, thecryptqueen, of course, glad you were able to come through, RichardRoy, and damn it, see, I shouldn't have my laptop in front of me, and I don't. Please forgive me for this. Oh God, I feel embarrassed now. It's the dude with the New York in his name, which I'm really feeling embarrassed because you're in New York and that's my home city, and I shouldn't forget who the hell you are, but you did an interesting response, and I'm supposed to respond to that. I'm sorry I didn't get your name right. I'll have it right in the text description and in the video somewhere. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Came back from a job interview. I'm a little scatterbrained, so. But I watched the videos, and I've been thinking about how to reply to all of these, as well as kind of give my own 2 cents in all of this. And I guess, first off, I'll start with by saying anyone who felt like they, their video wouldn't measure up, or they didn't understand why, I would ask them to give their opinion. I'm looking at you, thecryptqueen. This is a problem. And what I mean by the problem is where our society is heading and how it's been developing and, how to make it fair. This is a problem that the regular citizens have had to face for quite some time. Considering that it's the regular citizenry of this country that's being fucked, we should be the one discussing it, I think. We can't really trust some jackass in a suit with tons of money and no perspective of how to live a normal life to solve the problem for us unless they truly care, and even then they're going to need our perspective first, which too many of them really don't give a damn about our perspective. They talk a good game about, oh, I know how the average American on Main Street feels. No, they don't. They don't know what it's like when all of a sudden you're about to lose your job and you got a mortgage which you were barely able to pay, keep up with in the first place, not to mention the other bills. You don't know what that's like. You don't know what it's like to actually have to go through a life where you don't have some type of privilege that's been given to you just because of your status in your society. They like it the way theirs is. That's why they've been fighting very hard to keep their status in society so that they don't have to feel the pains that we do. So yeah, these aren't the types of people who I'd want to go to get their opinion on what's going on. It's regular people who I'd rather get an opinion on what's going on. But with that said, we also do have to pay the attention to the people who truly don't know what the fuck is going on, yet have the need to make comments anyway. And this is touching on something that you were making a pet peeve about, thecryptqueen. This whole thing about what we're seeing in the GOP side of things in terms of candidates for the next election. If it wasn't for the fact that we knew this to be true, I would think watching these people on TV that they must be part of some skit or some comedy show. Maybe it's the latest Saturday Night Live running gag that they got going on with some of the shit that they say. You would think, how could somebody this inept, this ignorant of American history and politics, this bombastically stupid, and not to mention also completely offensive and is willing to hate other Americans just because of who they are, individually. How the hell could people like this possibly be seen as serious candidates to be president? And if it wasn't for the fact that I know that there are a whole lot of Americans out there who think this way, I would be asking that question. But because I know there are a whole lot of ignorant people like that, I'm not surprised. It is very disheartening, yes. And it can be very amusing too. But it's scary, and I'm not surprised. After all, the people who completely destroyed what little meaning the Tea Party movement originally had, it's not just one people or two or three people. There's a whole lot of these motherfuckers, and they were able to get many of these clowns elected. To the point where now they're like, oh, if we're able to get them elected, we can get a whole lot more people in. They support my views, even though your views don't amount to shit because you don't really know anything. But that stems with another problem. The problem of education in this country. And the problem with propaganda in this country. And the problem of keeping citizens fat, comfortable, and stupid in order to keep them in control. That's worked very well so far. A little too well. Because now we're dealing with the shit that we're dealing with now. To the point where many of these yahoos are voting for or supporting idiots like what we're seeing in the GOP side of things don't even realize they're continuing to fuck themselves by supporting people like this. They know they're fucked. They're angry about it. They want to do something about it. But they don't seem to have the intellectual fortitude, or even, I was going to say the common sense, but I also think it's just simply the self-criticism. That's, I think, was mostly important. The self-criticism and the self-analysis of looking at themselves and realizing, I'm fucking myself. The stuff I'm believing in, I'm only believing in it because of some, strong need to cling to a certain type of idealism. This shit ain't working. But they're clinging to this type of idealism because they think they're going to get something out of it. Many of these people are thinking that one day when they hear some clown on TV talking about, yeah, they're harming business and they're harming capital, they're messing up with rich people. The only reason why other people are supporting them is because they think one day they're going to be the ones to benefit from this sort of thing. Oh, maybe one day I'll be rich and I don't want these things happening to me. Or maybe one day my cockamamie idea to start a company might succeed and then I'm going to be the businessman. So I got to... No, you never will. Come on. It's time to cut the crap. I said this before. You are not going to be rich. You're not going to be wealthy. You will not be the owner of a multi-million-dollar company. You are certainly not going to be a high-end Wall Street business tycoon. Odds are you're not. Just like odds are you're not going to be a top-notch rock singer or the best basketball player in the world or the greatest martial artist in the world. There's a small percentage of people who gets to the top. Most don't. The funny thing is, in a truly civilized society, it wouldn't matter because everybody would be treated fairly enough so that they would be able to live comfortably within their means. You don't have to be rich in order to live comfortably. Tons of people in Europe already understood that. I understand they're going through a major economic problem right now, but even so, they still have set up certain safeguards for their society so that motherfuckers who are middle class over there see it's no problem for them to have 2-week fucking vacations every year, while we have to fight just to get a basic vacation if you're middle class, much less what you would consider working class. Because they understand that's the type of shit that people should have. They live comfortably. They make a hell of a lot, even with the high taxes. It doesn't bother them. Yeah, we pay high taxes, but I'm still able to eat. Not us. Because of how the society is structured. And we keep the society structured because we're too fucking ignorant to see that we're fucking ourselves with the types of policies we're willing to jump on and the types of idiots we're willing to put in charge. Which goes back to the whole government thing again. I understand the argument that some people make that government is the problem. They're not altogether wrong when they say that because, well, yeah, the way our government is operating right now and the types of yahoos we happen to have in there, yeah, it's clearly a problem. Who's passing these laws? Who's accepting the bribe money? Who's letting the lobbyists run rampant? It is obviously government, right? But people seem to forget that there are human beings in that government. And the human beings come from our society, which tolerates these morons on a regular basis. And what's more, these group of morons who are in there are being bought and paid off by other motherfuckers who are telling them what laws to pass, what to do, and how to treat the rest of us. So it's not government that's the ultimate problem. It's the motherfuckers behind them. You would think this would be obvious, but some people just can't seem to go past that extra milestone. Because at the end of the day, let's say miraculously we're able to clean house within a few short months, which I'm going to get into that in a moment. You still need some type of structure to keep the society going. It's wishful thinking, especially with the type of people we have in this country right now, to suddenly think that, oh, we'll just simply voluntarily come together and come to some type of agreement. Motherfuckers can't even agree on what's good music or not, okay? If I even bring up the topic of hip-hop, we'll be here all day arguing, okay? So, if we can't even come to grips with our entertainment, what the hell makes you think that right now we're going to be able to come to grips on laws and policy making and things like that? Now, you need some type of bureaucracy in place to help keep this thing going. Here's the key, though. That bureaucracy should not be allowed to run rampant and be separate from the people as we have right now. When people think of government, they always think of it as some type of weird alien entity which is up there somewhere. That's beyond our reach, and we have to construct strange ladders and come up with middlemen and priests and summoners in order to be able to actually access this entity. Now, it's supposed to be a part of us because this affects our everyday life, and we know who these motherfuckers are. We see them on TV all the time. You can bump into them on the street. Well, it's not easy these days because of all the bodyguards and security and shit, but that alone should tell you that a high level of status they have just because they happen to be running a bureaucratic position is absurd. They're basically just the people who are supposed to help a society function. That's it. They're not supposed to be our, neo-nobles of today's society, but that's how they operate, especially the ones who actually have the money. They definitely operate as if they're some type of neo-monarchs and neo-nobles living in a land of peasants who they continually fuck over all the time. And make no mistake, what you're seeing right now with this whole Occupy movement is pretty much a New Age peasants' revolt. That's pretty much what it is. It's a peasant revolt.